Alright, hey guys, this is part 65 of Let's Play the Duke of Gascogne. Became the King of Aragon and is now the Emperor of Hispania. I have absolutely no idea where we last left off. It has been weeks since we played, like 2 weeks or so. I've been checking out a little bit of EU4, watching some Let's Plays, playing a little bit and being terrible at it. But if I remember correctly, we have this in hand. Pretty much, we formed our empire, which was the end goal. I was thinking about pressing on, but I kind of want to start something new. So this video is just going to be us kind of scoping things out, looking at how the world is, looking at what we managed to accomplish and whatnot. So it'll be a shorter one. In fact, I'll set my timer so I know to make it even shorter than normal. I think 65 is a nice round number to, well, you know what I mean. It's divisible by 5, which is fine for my OCD. So we'll let this be the final one. We did pretty good. We are currently on Egidio. It would be nice to play as our heir who... Oh wait, no. I'm a genius. I need to elect my... I don't have a genius son. That's why I haven't elected anybody yet. But if you can see, Hispania does really well. We encompass all the kingdoms of Spain, obviously. We also have Mauritania, the African kingdom up here, a bit of France, a bit of Ireland, and Brittany. And we're at the point where we could pretty much start steamrolling Europe. No problem. I feel we could take over France within 20, 30 years, probably. Maybe a little bit longer. I tend to do things a harder way than just inviting landing and then pressing claims, which is the way some people play, and it's a great strategy. It just seems monotonous to me. I like others. I don't know what I like, but yeah. So I mean, we managed to. So let's go through little tabs here. Obviously, the terrain doesn't change. But this is what the world's looking like. We'll start up here. Norway is spread all over the place. Northern Europe, Ireland, a bit of Sweden, Iceland, which is weird. For the longest time in the beginning of the game, Central Europe was just messed up, and there was no blobbing whatsoever. Poland seems to have taken care of that. If they could take out Lithuania, they'd be well on their way to forming the Wendish Empire. Denmark is in Norway. And the regular Denmark is, well, they still have most of their capital. They're missing this chunk, which is taken by England, Norse Catholic England, at this point. Yeah, typical. I mean, these guys might be fighting rebellions. They might be, yeah, they're all fighting each other. When that lumped up, they were pretty big. Seljuks are pretty strong. They managed to bust up the Abbasid a little bit, but that's been mostly decadence revolts. Changing who's in charge of the Arabian. The Byzantines this game were super crazy good. If we take a look at the Emperor and then the Empire, I mean they're huge. I mean they start off with like, you know, this. They managed to get all of Sicily, expand up into Serbia, Croatia, up here into Wallachia, Georgia, Armenia. That's all gone. I think that was mostly because the Abbasids were dealing with other stuff. This house has been in power for 4 generations. The one previously was 5, so it's bounced around a lot. Not that bad really for the Byzantines and how stable they are. I mean, normally it's civil war every time there's a succession, but this time it looked pretty solid. It's pretty solid. The Abbasids still nothing to scoff at down here. Huge amount of land and power. If we look at the history, it's been in the Abbasid family, but it's jumped around a bit. I mean, it was theirs in the beginning of the game, obviously. They lost it for a little while to Jalid, to Ibrahimid, and Siwaid. Back to, yeah, so it's been jumping around, and this guy had it for a second. But fairly in the hands of the Abbasid for a while. Italy's here, still ruled by a Carling, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So let's move down the sliders here. Religion, yeah, we've essentially been responsible for spreading Catholicism, as it did not move east into Eastern Europe like at all. Remuva reformed early. It did pretty well for itself. I think Slavic just reformed recently, if I'm not mistaken. Reformed Slavic, yeah, I'm not sure. That wasn't too long ago. Made some Catholic progress up in Scandinavia, but not too much. Shumanuskas are still there. Tengri didn't go very far this game. As is Hungary went Catholic. Sunnis down here. I've pretty much stopped the rise of Shia over in my in my land, although there is this Mazdaki, which is a Zoroastrian heresy. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what would happen when the hordes would come in. Cultures, Russian. Where is that exactly? So it's Russian Poland. Interesting. Whole bunch of random stuff up here. Finland. Oh, this is. Oh, I'm an idiot. There we go. Finnish up in Finland. Shocking. Yeah, Russian. That's weird. Polish in Lithuania. No, oh, and that chunk of Poland. Okay, he must have inherited all this Russian land. Greek, of course. Bedouin, Persian. Persian, I mean, you know, they're not doing half bad. There's a good chunk of Persian in there, of at least some sort of Zoroastrian. Even if it is just a heresy. Berber. We got some Basques spreading all over the damn place in Africa. It's spreading easier in Africa than it is in Spain, which sucks, but what are you gonna do? Frankish Italian, nothing. There's some Norman here. There was never a chance for Norman to get going down in Sicily, which is too bad for them. Norse, Norwegian, Norse. Huh. Economy, blah, 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 blah. Dynasties, of course, our gigantic dynasty did pretty well. Melinos, we just looked at. They've been in power for a while. Abbasid. Piast, I think, has held Poland from the beginning of the game, which is good for them. Carling's lost Germany, but they've maintained France and Italy and Bavaria. Yeah, Bavaria. Which is, you know, not bad for them. I don't know what country this is. This must be Prince Bishopric. Our dynasty's up in the Kingdom of Norway and Ireland, which is pretty cool. No, actually, Norway and Ireland are one now. So he's the king of Norway and of Ireland. Of course, we got the Norse up here in England. Hvitserk. I'm sure that's wrong. Moving along. I always like the direct vassal button. I don't know why. I find it useful. Mallorca did okay for itself. I mean, not a huge trade republic by any means, but dominating the western half of the Mediterranean, which is pretty good. Neapolis doing okay for itself. Venice had a tough time dealing with the Byzantines for sure. Are they still under the Byzantines? Yeah. So at least they had one game where the Byzantines converted Venice to a feudal, you know, monarchy under a barony and all that. So it quit being a trade republic, which kind of sucked. I'm like, you're wasting so much money. So yeah, that's about all we have to look at. So it's a good game. We'll wrap it up. I'm going to start putzing around with stuff. I don't have a ton of viewers at the moment, but if you guys see this, check it out. Tell me your opinions and any comments or whatever. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. I don't like asking for it, but if you like me, hey, go ahead and click a button. That would be super. But yeah, so some of the options are we can play Crusader Kings, you know, any other random place to start at, in either the 1066 or the 860, whatever start. We can do those. I do have EU4. I don't have any, you know, I just have the base game. We can try that. I've been playing a little bit as Korea, which has been okay. But I think I want to try somewhere in Europe. It feels like it'd be a little bit more interesting. The Far East is really slow with the tech, and you know, it's easy to be peaceful if you make friends with the big powers. But so there's that. There's also the Game of Thrones mod for Crusader Kings, which I'm, you know, rewatching the series, reading the books, all that fun stuff. So I'm totally into that right now. So if you want to see me be a giant nerd, I can do that. And yeah, so that's where we're at. We're going to wrap this up. Thanks, guys, for joining me for the series. I thought it was a pretty good one. It went really slow at the beginning, but then we managed to do pretty well. So what I am going to do here is I'm going to resign, and we're going to take a look at our kings and glance back at how we did. So stopping in the year, what year is it? 1112. So if we had started in the original time start in 1066, we'd only have gone for not even 50 years, but we started in the earlier one, and we managed to get up to 44,000, beating Plantagenet, which is pretty good, so take that, you guys. If you remember all those episodes ago, we started off as the Duke Dato I of Gascogne, who was a lunatic dwarf, who only survived for 5 years as his liege, the King of France, or heir of Aquitaine at the time, was a giant jerk and put him to fight wars. His son took over, Duke Anso, Ruled for 48 pretty much unremarkable years. There wasn't much we could do. We didn't have claims. The Abbasid, or the Umayyad down here, I'm sorry, were really stable for quite a while, but we managed to, fight some defensive wars and do pretty well. Duke Dato II only reigned for 7 years. If I remember, he took over young. Duke Anso here, yeah, he died at the age of 25. Yeah, this guy took over at 21. This guy took over at the age of 1. Ruled for 24 years, died of a fever, if I'm not mistaken. And then Queen Esmeralda, who I was kind of sad to be playing as, but she ended up being great. She managed to break our little Duchy of Gascogne, and what was the Duchy of Aragon too at that point, away, and take enough land to actually form the kingdom of Aragon. She ruled for 63 years. She took over the crown at the age of 0, which is a pretty common thread in this stupid game. We died young and took over as really young heirs, which was not good. She was the Apostle, which I think is a pretty badass name. She did fight the Muslims quite a bit. Teo, her son, he took over at the age of 31, or no, he died at 31, took over at the age of 22. Pretty short reign, but he held things together. And then it was his son, Luis, the Young, who took over, I believe, at somewhere between 6 and 12 months old, ruled for 77 years, expanded the crap out of our kingdom, and managed to form the empire. So he is truly the greatest. Him and Esmeralda will be having songs sung of them for generations to come. Louis II didn't last very long, which was fine because his stats weren't that great. And then Egidio here got to take over, and he's been chugging along pretty nicely. He's only 30. I could have a nice long rule with him if we wanted. But so that's going to wrap this one up, guys. Thank you for the views and all that fun stuff. So yeah, if you guys have any comments or anything, let me know what you think I should do. I might do some random stuff in the meantime, but I hope to hear from you. Thanks a lot.